Now, we've done a little setup here. We're here to talk about housing market recovery, but let's go back a few years and set the stage from a realtor standpoint, real estate expert standpoint. What happened? What caused this big national upswing of prices, and then what caused the collapse?
Yeah, I think the big motivator probably with anything of this nature would be exuberance, a lot of greed in the real estate industry, and not on a local level, not from the realtors, the professionals on the ground, and not from the majority of mortgage brokers, but there was enough of an element in the industry that saw an opportunity. We had the dot-com bust. And then I think there was a group of venture capitalist investors that saw an opportunity and saw where there was an ability to have low interest rates, I mean what we call subprime, and to down to the 1% level, and then everybody kind of getting on board, and that demand drove up the annual appreciation. So people kind of lost sight of reality and thought that would go on forever. And it didn't. Now, behind the scenes, in these big brokerage houses, Wall Street firms, they found a way to bundle all of these mortgages and then resell those. And we had the likes of Goldman Sachs and Merrill Lynch and people that we really trust that got lured into this. And I think that's where greed played into that. And there was a lot of irrational market behavior. Whose fault is it? I think everybody plays a role in it. I mean, I think that common sense, the consumer has to take some ownership of saying, does this really make sense? However, having said that, there are people that are vulnerable. You had some mortgage brokers that probably used predatory pressure tactics to get people into a home. Probably didn't tell them the whole story on that. I'm sure there were some real estate professionals that could have provided better counsel. But I think everybody has a share in the blame. The government does too. And the real question now is just how do we fix it? And but it was a runaway train based on irrational expectations, thinking that houses would appreciate and go on forever. And the subprime was the lure that created that demand that brought people in.
Now, I've noticed a very fast change in a few of the cable networks that talk a lot about home improvement and have home improvement shows, and they've suddenly switched from the house flipping shows where people buy an investment property, invest a little money, put some sweat equity in it, and hopefully roll it over for a large profit. And they've changed them to shows like how to convert your basement into an apartment and things like that. So, so even cable has yes. Scrambled for the economic change that we're going through. Now, Crucis was not, as I've heard it from the experts, not as victim, if you will, to this huge national trend. But we certainly are in there. It's certainly a tough situation in Crucis as well. What is it like in Crucis right now?
We see it getting better, but you're right. The impact here locally, we've had the decline in the number of homes sold. We had about 1,400, between 1,400 and 1,500 homes in 2008. Now that's down from like 2,500, 2,600 in the 06. And I don't have that exact number, but it was up in the 2,000 range. So we've had a significant drop in the number sold. However, the benefit here is we've not had the large price drops. And the reason for that is that we didn't have the runaway escalation of prices because we don't have a lot of subprime mortgages in New Mexico and in Las Cruces. So we have been affected by the slowdown in relocations here, and so the units, but the pricing's been resilient. On average. Now there's some exceptions you'll hear of some homes that go for $150,000 less than what it was built for. That's rare. It's not the norm. So we've benefited from that.
Now, what does the current situation mean for people paying on a mortgage that was acquired shortly before the downturn?
Now, say that again.
Now as people who, before prices started dropping, and there certainly are a lot of people out there, all of a sudden they're paying a set price on, for what they were mortgaged, but all of a sudden their house, if they put it back up on the market, would be worth less. They would not be able to sell it. What's the situation for those folks right now?
Well, right here in Las Cruces, we've had stable pricing, so we're not having issues with a lot of price declines. On average, there's the exceptions. Now, what we're seeing is it's taking longer time. It's about, the average days on market, we look at that for all homes is around 12 months. That's up from probably 6 months a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when the market was doing fairly well. So it's going to take longer to sell the home, and that's why we really counsel people that have homes that they want to put on the market, you need to price it right. I think there's still this feeling that people want to get a lot more for their home, and we're telling them that you really need to price it right. Vice versa, we have people even locally and out of town that think, oh, we can get some really deep discounts here because my friend in California or Phoenix got a great deal. They're going to be disappointed. On average, there'll be some unique situations, but on average, home buyers have to be pretty realistic here because it's not like Phoenix or South Florida or California. We don't have wholesale drops. We have isolated, but not wholesale drops.
And
yeah.
I've heard actually one of the cities most affected was Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, yeah. Tremendous. I mean, you had whole developments that are ghost towns now that were built on investment money. Investors coming in and just thinking they could buy a house and a year and a half later flip it for a profit, and these developers knock down these 500 home little subdivisions that are now on the market. And now we're starting to see a lot of pickup, a lot of recovery. I mean, the West, the resale market is coming up because the market is alive and well. It's supply and demand. Prices have come down. People are coming in and buying those, and so the inventory is being gobbled up slowly but surely. But we still have a little ways to get nationally to get out of the market, to get out of the woods.